Very good morning, my dear students. I welcome you for my Aniruddha tutorials. So far I discussed about the digestion and absorption topic, and I completed the total digestion of nutrients by the enzymatic activity. And in this class I do want to discuss about the remaining part of the digestion and absorption. In this class I will discuss the calorific value, absorption of the nutrients, and the functions of the large intestine and the defecation also. Thanks for listening. I hope you are following my classes very well. If you want to suggest me, and I allow you all for your suggestions too. Thank you very much. Now the digestion is completed. The functions of large intestine. Functions of large intestine. 1. There is no significant role of digestion in the large intestine. Large intestine helps in the adhering the mucus because the innermost layer of the alimentary canal is the mucosa. That mucus is adhering with the feces or fecus, and that helps in facilitates the defecation or the elementary or elimination of the fecus in the defecation. Therefore, the function of the large intestine, even though there is no significant role of the digestion, but that help in the defecation of the fecus, because the fecus is adhering with the mucosa in the large intestine. And one more function of the large intestine is large intestine helps in the absorption of water, minerals, and drugs. Even though large intestine doesn't have any role in the digestion, absorbs the water, minerals, and drugs, that aids in the defecation, facilitates the defecation because the fecus is mixed with that of the mucosa in the large intestine. And now the digested food material, undigested food material or unabsorbed food material present in the small intestine enters into the large intestine through the ileocecal valve between the ileum and the cecum. You know, ileum is the end part of the small intestine, cecum is the beginning part of the large intestine. Between these two there is a ileocecal valve with the sphincter, and that cecum leads to the colon and then into the rectum. Inside the rectum there is a temporary storage of the fecus occurs up to the defecation. Therefore, this is all about the large intestine. Next point is the gut wall action. The alimentary canal activities the regulation of the alimentary canal activities. It is most important. How the alimentary canal activities are regulated? Gut regulation. And the regulation is by two methods. One is the endocrinal regulation, and second one is the neural regulation. Endocrinal regulation, nothing but the hormones. Hormonal regulation. You know that hormones of the alimentary canal, I discuss it in the, I discuss in the same class. Hormonal regulation of the alimentary canal pertaining to the digestion. This is the esophagus and this is stomach. The first part of the small intestine is the duodenum. This is duodenum. From the mucosa of stomach, one hormone is released. That hormone is called the gastrin hormone. Gastrin hormone. Gastrin hormone is increasing the. Gastrin hormone increases the secretion of the gastric juice. Gastrin hormone increases the gastric juice secretion, total gastric juice secretion, hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen, prorenin, and K-cell intrinsic factor is enhanced, along with the peristalsis also increased, increasing the peristalsis and increasing the gastric activity. And this is gastrin. From the mucosa of duodenum, it is very important. From the mucosa of duodenum, there are some other hormones, and this hormone gastrin is released from the mucosa of the stomach, increasing the gastric activity, gastric secretion, and the peristalsis. From the mucosa of the duodenum, one hormone is the enterogastrone hormone. Enterogastrone hormone. You see this? Gastrin hormone is increasing the gastric secretion and peristalsis, but enterogastrone is decreases the gastric juice secretion and peristalsis. Therefore, my conclusion is gastrin hormone is antagonistic to the enterogastrone. Gastrin hormone is antagonistic to the enterogastrone hormone. It is increasing, it is decreasing the gastric juice and decreasing the gastric juice. And one more. From the mucosa of the duodenum, one hormone is the secretin hormone. Secretin hormone. You know, the source of the secretin hormone is from the duodenal mucosa, and the target is on pancreas. Target is on the pancreas. Source is mucosa duodenum. Target is the pancreas, secretin hormone. Therefore, from pancreas, water and bicarbonates are released. Water and bicarbonates are released. I have explained about the role of bicarbonates from the pancreas because the acidic chyme enters into the duodenum, that has to be neutralized because pancreatic enzymes are, and also the intestinal enzymes are going to work only in the alkaline medium so as to neutralize that acidic chyme. Not only bile juice and these bicarbonates along with the intestinal secretion also in the alkaline medium. The Brunner's gland secretion mucus also, that is maintaining the pH in the alkaline medium. Therefore, the secretin hormone is working upon the pancreas for the secretion of the water and bicarbonates, and the bicarbonates are helping for the neutralization of the acidic kind. And one more hormone from the duodenal mucosa, that is the CCK pancreozymin enzyme. Cholecystokinin pancreozymin hormone. The source is from the duodenal mucosa, and the target is upon pancreas, that works on pancreas, and also upon the gallbladder of liver. When the pancreozymin hormone is working upon the pancreas, from pancreas, pancreatic juice PJ with enzymes are released out. Please take care about that. Secretin hormone works on pancreas for the secretion of the water and bicarbonates only. CCK pancreozymin hormone also working upon the pancreatic acinar cells, releasing the enzymes, bicarbonates, water, and the enzymes. And when the CCK pancreozymin hormone is working upon the gallbladder and working as a gallbladder constrictor, helps in the contraction of the gallbladder. Ultimately, bile juice that is stored in the gallbladder, concentrated in the gallbladder, is entering into the cystic duct and then into the common bile duct and then into the duodenum. Therefore, the purpose of the bile juice already explained very well. This is all about the hormones which are regulating the alimentary canal activities, and these all hormones are called as the local hormones. All hormones are the local hormones, very much important. Gastrin, androgastrin, secretin, and CCK pancreozymin, all are called as the local hormones which are regulating the alimentary canal activity. And now I am discussing about the neural activity, the neural control of the alimentary canal. Neural control of alimentary canal. It is as follows. Neural control is, even though endocrinal control is local, but the neural control is by not only the local neural control and also from the central nervous system. Central nervous system neural control of gut activity and the local neural system of the gut activity. In my previous class, in the beginning classes itself, I explained very well the local neural control, because some of the neuroplexes are present, and the neuroplexes present between the circular muscular layer and the longitudinal muscular layer of muscularis, and the neuroplexus between these two muscularis is called as the Auerbach's plexus. Auerbach's plexus. Auerbach's plexus can be called as the myenteric plexus. And these plexus are helping for the increase in the peristalsis, increases the peristalsis. And one more neuroplexus present in the gut, in the gut wall. They are called as the submucosal plexus. They can be called as the Meissner's plexus. Meissner's plexus. The submucosal plexus or the Meissner's plexus are helping for the secretion of intestinal juice. This is all about the local neural regulation of the alimentary canal. One, the Auerbach's plexus present between the long muscular layer and the circular muscularis of the gut wall, helping for increasing the peristalsis. And in the submucosa, they are called as the submucosal plexus. The submucosal plexus are also called as the Meissner's plexus, are helping for the secretion of the intestine juice. Intestine juice secretion is enhanced. And coming to the neural regulation of the central nervous system. The central nervous system, particularly the autonomous nervous system. One more. From the autonomous nervous system, there are two types of the autonomous nervous system units. One is called as the sympathetic nervous system. And also the parasympathetic nervous system. I write only PSNS. Sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. These two are quite antagonistic. You know pretty well that sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are accelerator and also brake. Therefore, but here parasympathetic nervous system is increasing the alimentary canal activity. Sympathetic nervous system is decreasing the alimentary canal activity. That is a enhancer, that is a inhibitor. Therefore, parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system are also, they are not local, they are the parts of the autonomous nervous system, also helping for the regulation of the gut activity. With this, I conclude about the regulation of the alimentary canal gut activity, and last point is the calorific value. Calorific value. What is the meaning of the calorific value? The amount of the heat energy which is required for the rise of the 1 gram of water into 1 degree centigrade is called as the calorific value. It is normally discussed in the physics, but well, okay. But that calorific value is of two types. One is called as the gross calorific value. CV, I write only CV. And second one is the physiological calorific value. What is the difference between the gross and the physiological calorific value? Gross calorific value is measured in the one instrument is called as the bomb calorimeter. But physiological calorific value is measured inside the body itself. Inside the body. Therefore, what is the meaning of the calorific value? The amount of the heat energy which is required to raise the 1 gram of water into 1 degree centigrade is called as the calorific value. If it is 1 kg of water by 1 degree centigrade is called as the calorific value, but that is measured in the kilocalories. If it is 1 gram into 1 degree centigrade is the calorie, 1 kg into 1 degree centigrade is called as the kilocalorie. That is the difference between the calorie and the kilocalorie. And therefore, gross calorific value measured in the bomb calorimeter, it is one instrument filled with oxygen, because it needs combustion. For the combustion, it needs the oxygen only. Therefore, inside the body is the physiological calorific value. Inside the bomb calorimeter, it's an instrument with the oxygen. The calorific values are as follows. calorific values of carbohydrate one, second one the protein, last one the fat or the lipid. First of all, I discuss about the physiologic calorific value of carbohydrate is the 4 kilocalories. 4 kilocalories. Protein also 4 kilocalories. Lipid or fat is the 9 kilocalories. This is the calorific value of physiological calorific value of carbohydrate is the 4, protein is also 4, lipid is 9, 4, 4, 9. Therefore, in the gross calorific value or in the bomb element, carbohydrate for carbohydrate and protein and the lipid is the 4.1 kilocalories and one more 5.65 kilocalories and one more 9.45 kilocalories. This is the calorific value. Gross calorific value can be called as the absolute calorific value. Absolute calorific value. Absolute calorific value of the carbohydrate is 4.1 and protein is 5.65 and the lipid is 9.45. And here one question can be asked, what will be the difference between the gross calorific value and physiologic calorific value of the carbohydrate and the protein and the lipids? Very simple. 4.1 minus 4 is equals to 0.1. This is the difference. 4.1 minus 4, 0.1. Therefore, 5.65 minus 4, 1.65 kilocalories, 0.1 kilocalories and 0.45 kilocalories. This is all about the calorific value. I hope understood the functions of the large intestine and the regulation of the alimentary canal activities by the endocrine system and also the nervous system, and also there is one box item is given that is called at the calorific value. And I hope you understood my lesson. Thanks for listening to me. Thank you.